Celebrities aren't usually known for giving good advice, or for taking anyone else's advice for that matter. But some celebrities actually know what they're talking about when it comes to dispensing sound business advice we can all learn from. I'm your host, Chris Thompson, and today we're going to explore the top 10 business advice from celebrities, and let's see if those celebrities' advice live up to their reputations. All that and more on today's episode of IRL Media News. Let's get into it. Starting off our list at number 10 is Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban is a big believer in education, but not just in the classroom. As a lifetime learner, he believes you can increase your value in both life and career by continuously learning and bettering yourself. Essentially, always be learning. According to Mark Cuban, there's two things to consider. One is you always realize that you're a free agent. You're allowed to look for your next job while you're in your current job. But more importantly, and this particularly applies to your first job, is that in college, you paid to learn. But now that you've graduated, you're getting paid to learn. Take advantage of the to learn part. I had a professor in college that had a long, successful career in corporate America. I don't know if he knew it when he said it, but his advice has stuck with me ever since as I've grown my own career. He said, the day you get your first job is the day you start looking for your next job. As a broke college student, I didn't know what he meant by that, but I wrote it down anyways and memorized it. A few years later, I was at a small family-owned software company, and things weren't looking too good. There had already been a few rounds of layoffs, and I could see the writing on the walls. I began looking for not just my next job, but the next step in my career. They say it takes on average 6 months to find a new job. I don't know where they got this number from, but in my experience, this always seems to be true. So fast forward 6 months, and I had found a new job with a higher job title and an almost 50% raise in salary. The point both Mark Cuban and I are trying to make is that for every new job you get, always be on the lookout for your next opportunity. Number 9 on our list is Jay Leno. Jay Leno knows the value of having 2 or more revenue streams. In an interview with CNBC, Jay Leno once said that he always has 2 income streams. And it wasn't until he had a pretty steady cash flow that he began to feel comfortable with his spending. He said, when I started to get a bit famous, the money I was making as a comedian was way more than the money I was making at the car dealership I worked at. So I would bank that and spend the dealership money. When I got the Tonight Show role, I always made sure I did 150 shows a year so I never had to touch the principal from the Tonight Show. It's been estimated that Jay Leno earned around $30 million a year when he did the Tonight Show, and he saved every penny and invested it wisely. I've tried to follow this same advice in my adult life. I've had my day job, but I always tried to have a side hustle that brought enough money to put some spending money in my pocket. Sometimes these side hustles have turned into their own successful startups, but most of the time, they are a way of keeping me hungry for new business challenges. Next up on our list at number 8 is Ashton Kutcher. Ashton Kutcher believes you should have a business plan for whatever you do in life. In an interview with Business Insider, Ashton Kutcher encouraged anyone interested in either investing in or starting a new business to create a solid business plan instead of just a fluffy vision of what they want to do. And he knows a thing or two about creating successful businesses and making good investments. Ashton Kutcher co-founded the venture firm A-Grade Investments, which he managed to turn the initial $30 million investment fund into a $250 million fund by investing in companies like Skype, Uber, Airbnb, and Spotify. Ashton Kutcher says it's important to always keep asking questions, regardless if you think they're dumb, saying, every time you fear your own ignorance, you're limiting your potential to learn. There's a line in the first Croods movie that my family loves that goes, never not be afraid. I always flip that and tell my kids to never be afraid to ask why. It's the only way you'll ever learn. Number 7 on our list needs no introduction, but we're going to introduce her anyways. Oprah Winfrey. When it comes to giving advice, Oprah Winfrey is pretty good at her job. So when she tells people to have a good attitude towards things and believe in the impossible, people will do good to listen. In interviews, Oprah has said, the greatest discovery of all time is that a person can change his future by merely changing his attitude. I'd never heard this quote before, but I can assure you having a positive attitude has been one of the keys to my success in business. Just waking up each day with a smile on your face helps to have good karma, no matter how much crap the world seems to throw at you. In Oprah Winfrey's book, What I Know for Sure, she encourages people to invest in things you love and care about, saying, I hope the way you spend your money is in line with the truth of who you are and what you care about. If we take Oprah's advice in our financial lives, we can put this lesson into practice by only investing in companies we believe in and the businesses we know something about. There's that old adage, a fool and his money are soon parted. If you don't understand what a company does, then don't invest in it. Sounds like good advice to me. Number 6 on our list is a man who's made saying, whoa, cool again. Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves believes people shouldn't live beyond their means. Coming up with a budget and sticking to it is one of the best ways to build wealth. It should go without saying, but if you spend more than you make, then you'll never be able to save and build for your future. In an interview, Keanu Reeves said, "I give lots away and live simply, mostly out of a suitcase and hotels." He's referring to the lifestyle that he's built that isn't based on material things, but rather the people in his life and the experiences he shares with others. In another interview, Keanu Reeves once told a reporter, "Money is the last thing I think about." He's also known for being very generous, oftentimes buying gifts for the crews of his movies. He's also donated millions of dollars to children's hospitals and cancer centers. And after he finished filming the last Matrix sequels, he gave the entire stunt team custom-made Harley Davidsons as a way to say thank you. That's generous. Queen Latifah is number 5 on a list of top 10 business advice from celebrities. Queen Latifah knows the value of listening to those older and wiser than her. She attributes learning everything she knows about money and investing from her mother, and listening to what she taught her from an early age. According to Queen Latifah, "My mom has always been my champion. She's very smart and grounded. She used to say, save your money, pay your taxes, don't put everything in one basket. But she let me explore and be creative." I love that advice and how her mom instilled in her the lessons about money from an early age, but still gave her the freedom and space to make her own decisions. I think that's important when teaching children, so that they can implement those lessons we've taught them in their own ways. Coming in at number 4 is Nicki Minaj. I'll admit, Nicki Minaj isn't the first person I would go to for business advice, but she knows a thing or two about knowing what you're worth. I'm not talking about how much is in your bank account, but rather about self-worth. In an interview with Time magazine, Nicki Minaj said, "At a very early age in my rap career, I wasn't making 6 figures for shows. If I heard there was another rapper making that, I thought, you know what? I get out there and demand or command a crowd. But I also decide, you know what? I want to be compensated as well." Nicki Minaj is clearly a skilled musician and took those experiences and decided she was going to get hers and never forget how much she believes she's worth. According to Nicki Minaj, "One thing I learned along the way in business is the necessity for you to be unapologetic about asking for how much money you deserve. Whether you're asking for a raise because you feel you've worked hard and deserve to be compensated for all the work you do in your job, or you decide to make a change in a relationship because you're not getting the respect you deserve, it's always important to know your self-worth." That brings us to the top 3 celebrities sharing their business advice. Number 3 is Ellen DeGeneres. How many of us can say they're oversavers? Not many, I'm guessing. It's much more common for people to overspend, but it's possible to save too much money at the expense of experiences and material items to reward ourselves for working hard. Ellen DeGeneres has done pretty well in her career, and with a net worth of approximately $380 million, she's obviously pretty good at saving. But Ellen has some advice for people. She believes that while you should save money for a rainy day, you shouldn't be afraid to spend it either. According to Ellen DeGeneres, you shouldn't live your life in fear of money. She goes on to say, "I was just like, I'm never going to have that attitude about money," she said in an episode of our talk show. "I'm going to go out and just get what I want. I'm going to get what I want because there's an abundance and I will always have enough, and that's how I want to live my life." I know I've been guilty of falling into savings mode and not wanting to spend a penny because I had a savings goal in mind, but if you find yourself skipping get-togethers to save money or going without your favorite coffee once in a while, then what are you really living for, forbidding yourself from experiencing life? Think about this lesson from Ellen DeGeneres next time you want to indulge just a little bit. You're worth it. Runner-up on our list, pun intended, at number 2 is former Yankees shortstop Alex Rodriguez. After a 22-year-long career in MLB, Alex Rodriguez knows a thing or two about success. But it turns out, after he retired from baseball, he began his second career as an investor. He started a handful of investment companies and has found tremendous success investing in real estate. He has an estimated net worth of $350 million, so when he advises people to really learn about investments and how to get the most out of them, people should listen. In an article in Vanity Fair, the former Yankees player shared that while he was on suspension from baseball, he began taking investment classes at Columbia University and marketing classes at the University of Miami to better prepare himself for life after baseball. In an interview with Vanity Fair, he once said, "On the business side, it was always non-recourse debt. Don't personally guarantee it. And cash is like oxygen. You need it, but you don't need too much of it. You'd rather have your money in great businesses. Cash is king in business, and if you're a fan of Wu-Tang, you know cash rules everything around me." And the number 1 celebrity to grace us with their business advice is none other than Dolly Parton. Dolly Parton is practically a national treasure. In her 68 years of performing, she gives this simple advice to those wise enough to listen to her. Lead and give back with your heart. When COVID-19 hit, many of us were holed up with our families and loved ones and went into saving survival mode. Not Dolly Parton. She dipped into her savings to help fund the pharmaceutical company Moderna's COVID-19 research, which led to them coming out with one of the first COVID shots during the pandemic. When Dolly Parton was interviewed during the pandemic, she shared, "It seems like the more I give, the more I get. And that's the way it's supposed to go in life." Maybe now you can see why I think Dolly Parton is a national treasure. That's it for our top 10 list of business advice from celebrities. If you like this video, do me a solid and smash that like button and subscribe to our channel. Thanks. I'm your host, Chris Thompson, and this has been an IRL Media News production.